This is Texas News Now, sponsored by Germania Insurance.
Let's take a look at today's headlines from Houston. Hello, I'm Len Cannon. Houston police are investigating a fiery crash that killed 2 teens over the weekend. New surveillance video shows the moments just after the crash, including Good Samaritans rushing to rescue the driver. Michelle Choi explains what happened.
This surveillance video from a nearby home shows the moments just after a violent crash on the South Loop East near Rowe Drive. A car pulling over, hazard lights flashing, and Good Samaritans running towards a smoking pickup truck.
We're out here investigating a double fatality.
Houston police say the crash happened just after 2 a.m.
Based on witness statements that a white pickup truck was leaving a residence with 3 passengers, including one driver, driving eastbound at a high rate of speed when they lost control of the vehicle and wrecked into the freeway sign behind me.
Police say the impact caused the truck to catch fire. Moments before, in the surveillance video, you can see several people pulling the driver to safety. Seconds later, one person is seen running to the other side of the truck, appearing to try and reach the other passengers. Out of respect for the victims and their families, we're stopping the video here.
A Good Samaritan passerby saw the vehicle and aided and assisted in getting the driver out of that vehicle. Unfortunately, they were not able to reach the other 2 passengers.
Sadly, the 2 passengers, an 18-year-old boy and an 18-year-old girl, were pronounced dead at the scene. In daylight, the damage is clear. Charred metal and a metal support holding up the freeway sign. TxDOT crews made a temporary fix early this morning, shutting down the eastbound lanes for hours before briefly reopening them, only to close them again just before 9 a.m. as crews return to the scene. In Southeast Houston, Michelle Choi, KHOU 11 News.
Also over the weekend, demonstrators across Houston took to the streets following the fatal shooting of Renee Good by an ICE officer in Minneapolis. Hundreds gathered at a city hall Saturday calling for changes to federal immigration enforcement. Orko Manna talking with protesters.
The people united will never be defeated.
Chanting, cheering, and holding signs, these protesters are making their voices heard. A few hundred people gathering by the steps of Houston City Hall today, speaking out against ICE.
That are attacking our immigrant communities, that are attacking the working class.
Organizers specifically planning this demonstration in response to the death of Renee Good. She was shot and killed Wednesday by an ICE officer in Minneapolis. Both her face and her name front and center throughout the crowd. Talk to me about this sign that you brought out today.
When I saw what happened in Minneapolis, it just really kind of shook me up. So, and kind of just a play on her name, that, you know, her last name being Good, and I don't think that ICE is good for our country.
The Trump administration maintains the ICE agent acted in self-defense.
We will always be protecting ICE, and we're always going to be protecting our Border Patrol and our law enforcement.
But demonstrators in Houston worry the same kind of violence could happen here.
Tomorrow it might be you, it might be me. I don't think Renee Good woke up that morning thinking it was going to be her. So you can't wait till it affects you. You can't wait till it's your next door neighbor.
That's why organizers say today's protest is also about denouncing local ICE operations. What's the big message you want to send to Houston city leaders?
Well, twofold. So we want to send a message to the Houston city leaders that very much says we are not happy with our federal government right now. We are not happy with our state government right now. Do something, say something.
No ICE! No pay, no fascist USA!
Their main mission to get ICE out of communities across the country and to honor Renee Good.
To immediately label this woman a domestic terrorist, it basically sends a signal that anybody that's against this administration is an enemy. And that's not the country that I want to live in, and that's not the country I want for my children.
Several Houston police officers were also at the protest to monitor the crowd and ensure everyone's safety, but there were no reports of any violence or any arrests. Reporting from downtown Houston, Orko Manna, KHOU 11 News.
A Florida woman is charged with impersonating the family of a teenage counselor who died at Camp Mystic to get money from strangers. According to court documents, 28-year-old Maitland White created a GoFundMe and a spot fund claiming to be the mother of Chloe Childress. just 4 days after the tragedy. Now, Childress's father reported the pages to Harris County deputies because he says they didn't post this. By the way, the family lives in the Houston area. Deputies say White later admitted she was trying to make quick money because she's a single mother of 2. So far, she's not in custody, but once she is, the Harris County DA's office says it is opposed to a PR or low bond, calling her conduct, quote, despicable. In other local news, the streets of Houston packed Sunday morning as tens of thousands of runners and supporters turning out for the 54th annual Houston Chevron Marathon. From first-timers to families running side by side to friends lining the course with signs and cowbells, it was a morning filled with energy and emotion. KHU11's Jalissa Garza spent the morning talking with runners and the folks cheering them on.
Before the sun came up, downtown Houston was already wide awake.
Izzy, I love you. I'm so proud of you. Let's go! Hello, Crystal. Hey, Crystal.
As thousands of runners poured into the streets for the 54th annual Houston Chevron Marathon.
Have you ran this marathon before?
This is my second time.
What made you want to run it again?
It's awesome.
Fernando Lozano was running with his wife, friends, and family, turning every mile into a shared goal.
How does it feel as a family to run together?
Oh, it feels great. Me and my wife, we run every day together, so we cannot run without each other, so it's great.
And as the race got underway, it was a sea of runners on the course, but just as much heart on the sidelines.
We're here supporting my husband and her boyfriend, Alex and Izzy. We're just so excited for them. They've been working really hard, and we're just ready to see them do it.
Some supporters told us they were running on very little sleep. Others say the excitement makes you forget the cold and the early alarm.
You see the excitement that they have. This is their first run, and there's so many people out here.
And whether it was a first marathon, a half marathon, or just a morning of cheering from the curb.
What's your favorite part about this marathon?
I think just knowing the hard work that they put behind all of it and how long they've been training, and I guess like the dedication that they have to finishing the race. It's fun to just come and support them and cheer them on.
This year marks 54 years of racing through Houston streets, a tradition that continues to bring the city together. Reporting in downtown Houston, Jalissa Garza, KHOU 11 News.
That's what you call commitment and dedication. Congratulations. That's a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Len Cannon.
I'm Teresa Woodard in Dallas, and here are your headlines from North Texas. Protests continue in cities all across the U.S. after the death of Renee Good in Minneapolis. The Department of Homeland Security says Good was trying to run over an ICE agent when she was fatally shot, but local officials dispute that. Richard Solomon was at a protest in Fort Worth.
Protests are spreading from Minneapolis to cities across America, and here in Fort Worth, demonstrators made their message and their voices loud and clear. This has to stop.
Immigrant rights are under attack!
Armed with signs and a message.
We are gathered together in solidarity.
Those outraged with what happened in Minneapolis taking to the streets here in Fort Worth. And that's what brought Randy and Noah Garms here.
The loss of life is always tragic.
To voice their pain.
What happened was uncalled for. It was filmed.
Earlier this week, an ICE agent in Minneapolis shot and killed 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, a mother, a community member. But protesters here in Fort Worth, part of the nationwide weekend of action dubbed ICE Out for Good, say they came to make their voices heard.
Stomach's really in a knot right now. Just, feel like it's important to be out here and be supported and face the facts of what's happening.
The same in South Lake.
Totally wrong on so many levels. Standing in front of a car, pulling your gun while you're holding your phone. I mean, what the hell?
On Friday, Vance posted on X responding to the video saying, quote, "The reality is that his life was endangered and that he fired in self-defense. Because whether it's in Minnesota or here in Texas, protesters said what they want is a reckoning."
She was a regular person, just like all of us, and this should not be happening.
And the movement toward what they say is accountability. In Fort Worth, I'm Richard Solomon.
The city of Hutchins is pushing back on reports that an ICE detention facility could be built there. Last month, the Washington Post reported plans for ICE to hold 80,000 immigrants in warehouses. According to the Post's reporting, a facility that could hold up to 9,500 people is planned for Hutchins, which is a Dallas suburb. It would be the second largest of all the proposed warehouses. We reached out to Mayor Mario Vasquez, who tells us, quote, "The warehouses we have are for storage and not for holding people. It is something we don't need in our city and something we don't want." When asked why, he responded with a question, quote, "Who wants an ICE facility in their backyard?" People in a Fort Worth neighborhood were on edge after multiple vehicles were set on fire. They are now breathing a sigh of relief because a suspect is in custody. Here's Adriana De Alba now with how the arrest went down.
This is the moment SWAT teams pulled up to a home, tactical vehicles lining the street. As officers moved in, giving commands. Law enforcement zeroing in on their suspect, a 17-year-old accused of setting vehicles on fire in his South Fort Worth neighborhood.
The next thing I know, I hear a loud, thush sound.
Lyell Audi woke up to a loud fire.
I started to panic. I looked outside the window and I saw my brother's car in flames. And I started screaming, "Fire, fire!"
The car belonged to her brother, who's disabled. His specialized vehicle destroyed.
It was really scary. Very scary.
Police say all 5 fires happened near Reisinger Road by Fox Run Park. The fires burning through the night between Christmas and New Year's Eve. One after the next. Neighborhood video captured a suspect walking up to one of the vehicles, opening it, and then setting it on fire while watching it burn. Police arrested 17-year-old Evan Banda, charging him with all 5 arsons.
Our team recognized that they had a pattern and intensified their efforts.
According to an arrest warrant, police pulled evidence from Banda's phone, including his cell phone. Police say he recorded the fires as they happened. Investigators interviewed neighbors and tracked the suspect's activity for days.
Our community was in fear for a while.
The 17-year-old will be charged as an adult.
When individuals are taking part in these type of crimes, they will escalate to something at some point. It's imperative to be proactive.
A neighborhood on edge for days now has a sense of relief. In Fort Worth, I'm Adriana De Alba.
Now to an update on plans for a new temple for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Fairview. After more than a year of uncertainty, there is now a fence surrounding that work site. A news release on the church's website says preliminary infrastructure work will begin soon, but a date for groundbreaking has not yet been set. Some neighbors fought plans for this temple because of its proposed 120-foot tall spire. Fairview leaders gave their final approval to the plan last September. We are hearing firsthand how local restaurants benefited from Taste Addison. That's a popular food festival that the city of Addison just canceled. Taste Addison has been a staple in North Texas for 30 years, giving local eateries a chance to try to win over new customers.
It was great exposure to the community to say, hey, what's this place, you know?
Addison City Council decided to end this festival after losing more than $750,000 last year. Now they say they are working on new ways to promote local restaurants. Business is booming for one North Texas barbecue joint. Barrel and Bones just opened a new location in North Richland Hills off Grapevine Highway. It is the chain's 4th location in North Texas. And soon, Texas barbecue will take to the skies. American Airlines announced it has partnered with Pecan Lodge in Deep Ellum to offer first-class travelers some of their award-winning food. It will be available on flights from DFW to JFK or LaGuardia starting in February. Now, those who want to indulge do have to pre-order their meals before their flights. For more than 30 years, Dallas ISD has hosted an oratory competition inspired by the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And as Dia Wall shows us, we won't believe how far it's come.
Good evening. I am Cameron Kinder, a 4th grade scholar at Clara Oliver Elementary.
He's also competing in the 2026 MLK Jr. Oratory Competition in Dallas ISD.
Let me give it a try. I can imagine myself doing this.
Cameron is also doing it well.
Taking the first step when you do not see the ending.
Well, the competition started, I started at first with 15 kids said they were going to do it. When they saw how it took a lot of reading and digging, someone stepped out.
That was more than 3 decades and countless kids ago.
Oh, gee, I tell you what, I retired for a little while. I missed 2 years, I think, but every year I coach the kids. Put your focus around all the people in the auditorium, but 10 people in all these chairs, okay?
Just like she's coaching Cameron, who's inspired by the life and legacy of Dr. King.
We can all be united in one, and nobody separates the other based on their skin color, the way they talk, the way they look, the way they walk, the way they be them.
When he takes the stage for the finals, chin up, voice strong. No doubt he will once again bring a tear to this teacher's eye.
He did not just talk.
Oh, couldn't help it. Couldn't help it.
Why?
It's just how well he did.
Even if I don't win, I'm thankful that God allowed me to make it this far into the competition.
I'm very proud of them. I'm very proud of all my students that get on the stage.
And we wish them all good luck in the finals on January 16th.
Lift up your hope.
In Dallas, I'm Dia Wall.
Way to go, Cameron. Good luck. Those are your headlines from North Texas.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at yourmediainsurance.com.
Okay, doesn't look like any big surprises weather-wise as we head into the first few days of this work week. High temps across the state will be in the 60s. Lows will be in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, depending on where you are. No big rain chances, although there will be some rain chances in our desert southwest areas of Texas. We'll look at that as we move along. But El Paso, Monday's high 57, Tuesday 62, Wednesday 66. Beautiful weather in West Texas overall. Dallas, low to mid 60s next 3 days. South Padre, mid to upper 60s, even cracking 75 by Wednesday, South Padre. Lubbock looks good. Texas, Houston, a chilly Monday, high only 58 with cloud cover, and then a little bit more mild Tuesday and Wednesday. But again, no big rain event, and it's kind of a bummer because we need the rain in some spots, especially south and central Texas. Still an extreme drought. San Antonio southward into the valley. Got this little piece here in the middle where there's no drought whatsoever. And then that backs off into exceptional drought in portions of the desert southwest of Texas. We take a look at the rainfall forecast. Here's Monday afternoon. Not much. Lots of mid and high level clouds over portions of the state, but no significant rain with that on Monday. More rain down in Mexico. Now we go into Tuesday. This is the wee hours of early Tuesday morning. Little piece of energy coming out of Mexico, and there could be a little bit of light rain, Fort Stockton to Del Rio, down the Rio Grande to Laredo, and maybe down to McAllen. Maybe Corpus gets grazed by a little shower overnight, Monday night, early Tuesday morning. But no real significant rain totals out of this, and we'll look at that in a minute. Little spinner out here, mid-level Fort Stockton has a better chance for a morning shower, Midland, Odessa as well. This is Tuesday, 7:30 in the morning. But overall, this activity, Laredo to Corpus to Matagorda Bay, that will be very light and may not even reach the ground because our dew points are so low. It may be that Virgo where it evaporates before it reaches the ground. Tuesday afternoon, really a beautiful day across the state. If we get any shower activity, it's a sprinkle. That's a dry front coming in Wednesday, which is going to reinforce the cool but beautiful winter weather conditions for Texas through the middle part of this coming work week. That rainfall outlook, I showed you the rain in the southwest of Texas. Rain totals out of that on Tuesday morning. Maybe a 1/10 of an inch or so out here, maybe a little more toward Presidio, but that is about it. So no real rain chances for the next 3 days. Temperatures, we go to Monday afternoon, 61 Houston, Dallas 65, 57 Midland. No big surprises. Tuesday morning, beautiful for a winter morning in Texas. Lubbock 29, Amarillo 36, Houston 45, Victoria 50. Tuesday afternoon, 50s and 60s. Wednesday morning, 40s and 30s. Again, no big surprises, no hard freezes, no really warm conditions, just about what you'd expect for a winter afternoon in Texas going into Wednesday. That's where we stand, gang. Back to you.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at yourmediainsurance.com.
I'm Vanessa Croy, and this is the news in San Antonio. Dramatic video shows a ball of flames after a house fire on Friday on the north side. Take a look at this video shared by a KENS 5 viewer capturing a wall of flames firefighters faced when they rushed to the scene off Slate Rock and Wilderness Parkway. Crews say they found the garage engulfed. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Firefighters were able to rescue the family's dog. Here's what a neighbor told us they heard right before that fire started.
I heard a loud boom. It didn't really shake the house, but I thought somebody maybe wrecked into my car or something in front of the house. It seemed close. And so I came looking out to see if anything happened in front of our house. And then I walked out the front door and I saw huge flames coming out of the house.
Investigators tell us they are still trying to figure out how that fire started. The Bexar County Medical Examiner needs your help identifying a man after his body was discovered early last year. Take a look at this photo authorities need you to see. They say this man was found off Blanca Road on the city's north side on January 31st of last year. Investigators say the man is described as either white or Hispanic and believed to be between the ages of 57 and 70. If you recognize him or know who he might be, call the Bexar County Medical Examiner's office. A man is now facing a manslaughter charge after police say a woman critically injured in a wrong-way crash has died. Police say Eric Neal was driving the wrong way on FM 78 on the northeast side and slammed into a woman's car head-on. It happened early last weekend on Sunday. The victim's car left mangled near a bus stop. The medical examiner has identified the victim as 21-year-old Andrea Zuniga. Police say right after the crash, she was rushed to the hospital but lost her life a few days after the crash. Detectives say Eric Neal was driving drunk and is now facing an intoxication manslaughter charge. The trial of a former Uvalde CISD police officer wraps up week one. Adrian Gonzalez was indicted on 29 counts of abandonment or endangerment of a child. He was among the first officers on the scene at Robb Elementary School, where a gunman killed 19 children and 2 teachers. KENS 5 reporter Zach Briggs has the emotional testimony heard in the courtroom.
From ballistics analysis and disturbing images to heart-wrenching testimony, this first week of the Adrian Gonzalez trial has been tough for the jury and family members who lost loved ones in the shooting. Brent Barina with the Texas Rangers documented a variety of evidence at Robb Elementary, including bullet impacts, cartridge cases scattered throughout. Rooms 111 and 112 is where Barina also spent extensive time capturing the aftermath of the chaos.
When you walk in the main entry door from the hallway, there was a lot of deaths that were kind of clustered up, scattered around, and then there was a concentration of deceased bodies kind of in that the northwest corner of the room.
And were they away from the windows?
They were, yes. They were on the opposite side of the room from the windows.
Also taking the stand, Jennifer Garcia, mother of 9-year-old Ileana, who was killed in the shooting. She told the jury how she spent hours waiting for answers about her daughter. In the morning, Jennifer got to see Ileana get an award at school for being a helpful student. Ileana wanted to go home right after, but Jennifer said no, since the kids were supposed to enjoy pizza and a movie at school that day. Jennifer was home when she got word from a neighbor.
You need to get to Rob ASAP. And I'm like, why? What's going on? She's like, there's something going on. They believe that there's a shooter at the school. I believe we both went barefooted She met me there. She took the baby and I just started running and there was just chaos.
And it was later that evening when Jennifer learned alongside other parents at the Uvalde Civic Center that her daughter was among the 19 children killed in the tragedy. The trial will resume again at 9 a.m. on Monday. In Corpus Christi, I'm Zach Briggs. Back to you.
A new mural north of downtown is honoring the life of 19-year-old Camila Mendoza Olmos. She was reported missing on Christmas Eve, sparking a massive search by the law enforcement and the community. Her body was found 6 days later, the medical examiner ruling her death a suicide. The mural is painted near San Pedro and Cypress Street and follows a memorial held by loved ones. The tragic death of the 19-year-old has renewed critical conversations about mental health. A community is rallying around a beloved maintenance staff member after he lost his home in a New Year's fire. Co-workers at UNM San Antonio say he's more than just an employee, he's family. He's known for his friendly smile and years of dedicated service. As the new year started, fireworks ignited a fire that severely damaged his family's home. Well, now the campus has launched a fundraiser to help with temporary housing and basic needs.
I just want you, the community to know, and to Jaime to know that he's not alone. We are a wonderful community around him, and we hope that soon he's going to be back on his feet and being the joyful and generous guy that he's always been.
The family escaped unharmed. We're less than 2 months away from the March 3rd primary election. Bexar County Commissioner Tommy Calvert says there's now another voter registration backlog. The commissioner says the Texas team voter registration system has failed the county.
Before, our elections clerks were able to do about 24 inputs of the new voter registrations per hour. Now, it's only 8. And so we've got a backlog of 4,000.
A few months back, there was a massive backlog the elections office had to clear. The commissioner says the county is being forced to fix a statewide issue. Meanwhile, the election department says the recent backlog is minor. Officials say they're still working to ensure all eligible voters are registered and ready for Election Day. And that is the news in San Antonio.
I'm Adriana Alexander. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. An officer with the Copperas Cove Police Department has been killed in an officer-involved shooting. The department identified the officer as Elijah Garrettson. The Texas Department of Public Safety reports that the Texas Rangers are now investigating that Saturday incident. Authorities have not released details about what led up to the shooting, but DPS says the suspect later died by suicide after a long negotiation with law enforcement. In a statement, Copperas Cove Police asked for patience and privacy as the officer's family and the law enforcement community grieve this loss. No further information has been released at this time. Many Central Texans gathered Sunday afternoon for 2 anti-ICE protests, united in grief and anger after Renee Good lost her life in Minneapolis. Her death last week has sparked outrage and concern across the nation. The first protest in McLennan County was organized by the McLennan County Democratic Party, who joined with Invisible Waco to protest ICE tactics. Local Democratic groups and community organizations gathered at Waco's Freedom Corner by the Crunch Fitness, calling for accountability after a deadly encounter involving ICE in Minneapolis.
So then when I saw what happened in Minneapolis, I just said, you know, I just can't do nothing anymore. So this is a small act, but it's something. It's more than just staying at home and complaining.
It's a lot to have a strong community, especially in a time when we're just seeing so much division and polarization and things that we feel really deeply are just wrong. And so to see so many people come out and say, no, this isn't right, this isn't who we are in the United States, this isn't who we are as Americans, we treat our neighbors with kindness and respect, and I think that's really, really good.
Organizers say the protests are meant to honor the life lost and draw attention to what they describe as a broader pattern of harm tied to federal immigration enforcement. The fight over a proposed data center near Waco is far from over. Neighbors who live just feet away from the proposed site say they're being left out of decisions that could impact their health, water supply, and quality of life. Here's Adrian Carbajal with more.
Residents who live along North Katy Road and Elm Mott say they're on the front line of a project they had no say in, a proposed data center just outside of city limits.
I think that's where it's most frustrating for us as residents, is that we're not able to have any impact in terms of the decision that they're making for something that's going to directly affect us as living close to this data center. So essentially, they get the reward of getting that tax base, but they don't have the risk of their residents, their voter base, having to deal and live near this.
Gravin and his neighbors say their concerns go beyond noise or appearance. Plans show a gas-powered plant with generators capable of producing up to 1.2 gigawatts, larger than anything currently in McLennan County.
About 3/4 of a mile down the road, we actually have a well where our water supply is being delivered to us. At the start, they need 3 million gallons of water per day. Fully operational, 15 to 16 million, and that's per the MOU. And so we're very concerned with pollutants, runoff, things like that.
Gravit says that level of demand could strain resources across Waco and McLennan County, as the water would need to come from the city of Waco. State Representative Pat Curry says a lack of transparency and planning has fueled frustration, and he believes nothing will move forward so long as the center remains a Lacey Lakeview city project.
I don't believe it goes anywhere for Lacey Lakeview. I think the key to this is transparency, right? And that was the key component that was missing. And misinformation, a lot of it was out there, and some of it was coming from Lacey Lakeview. It just created this whirlwind out there of misinformation that will have to be dealt with in the future.
And people hope to bring awareness to the issue ahead of Tuesday's decision on the data center during the Ross City Council meeting. And those are your headlines from Central Texas.
Here are your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Ebony Coleman. We are learning more about a deadly disturbance at a church in Beaumont's West End. Officers responded to a disturbance at the home along Bicentennial Place. Police learned the man left in a truck and they tracked him down. When they attempted a traffic stop, the driver turned into a parking lot of St. Jude Thaddeus Catholic Church on Gladys Avenue. Then officers heard a single gunshot from inside the vehicle. Officers say the driver, a 68-year-old Beaumont man, has shot himself. We spoke to BPD at the scene about resources people can call for help.
As always, anyone who is suffering from any type of mental illness, thoughts of suicide, or anything of that nature, I would always recommend they call 988.
Beaumont EMS also responded and pronounced the man dead. Now it comes just hours after police say a Beaumont man shot his ex-girlfriend, kidnapped her, and was in an hours-long standoff with police. This man, 26-year-old Bradley Hudson, is in the Jefferson County Jail on kidnapping and aggravated assault charges. He's being held on a $1.3 million bond. Beaumont police say it all started in the Barrington Heights neighborhood. That's behind HEB off Dolan. According to a probable cause affidavit, Hudson then drove towards Hardin County. And cameras caught him in the Sour Lake area, and officers found him and his girlfriend along Old Sour Lake Road. Officers say cooperation between departments may have saved her life. So news reporter Spencer Plato has more details from that probable cause affidavit and resources for survivors of domestic violence.
The guy's in custody and the victim is getting medical attention and officers are safe.
According to the probable cause affidavit, surveillance video captured the suspect, identified as 26-year-old Bradley Hudson, pulling into the victim's driveway. Video shows him exiting the vehicle and walking toward her with an AR-15 style rifle. After a brief struggling, the affidavit reveals that he pulled the woman into his car and fired a shot, hitting the victim above the knee.
The ex-boyfriend of the victim had arrived and potentially shot her. He then put her in a vehicle and drove away from the scene.
With Hudson on the move, officers turned to the real-time crime center to track them down.
They began checking the flock system for any license plate reads for the vehicle. Hardin County was instrumental in helping with that.
Cameras caught them in the Sour Lake area. Hardin County Sheriff Mark Davis says his deputies pursued Hudson down to Old Sour Lake Road. There, he stopped, and a standoff was on. Hours later, with the victim bleeding inside the car, Hudson was persuaded to get out. You can see him in 12 News exclusive video leaning against the car.
Anytime you've got a gunshot victim, that you're running the clock on how long you're going before you get medical attention to them.
The victim was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay. Advocates say while violent incidents can seem sudden, they actually happen more often than you think.
While many of these cases do happen out of the blue, generally there is a pattern of escalation, of violence, of control, of losing control of their anger. We see that very clearly. And again, every situation is different, but things might not repeat exactly, but they certainly rhyme.
Sheriff Davis says he's thankful it ended smoothly.
It's a grim reminder of the challenges that we face every day, and in the Golden Triangle, there's got to be some cooperation.
And that was Spencer Plato reporting. Sheriff Mark Davis says he could also face charges in Hardin County, but he didn't share what those could be. And Texas EquuSearch is now joining the search for Joshua Larkin. He disappeared during a hunting trip near Kirbyville in November 2022. The father of 4 was 38 years old at the time. Investigators are treating the case as a homicide. The Newton County Sheriff's Office say there are 4 men responsible for Larkin's murder. Despite those arrests, Larkin's remains have still not been found. Texas EquuSearch is urging anyone with information about his disappearance to contact the Newton or Jefferson County Sheriff's Offices. And 2 suspects accused of stealing a Newton ISD school bus are now in custody. Police say Louisiana deputies arrested Cody Parker and Shadow Hamilton at a home in Meats, Louisiana. Authorities took both suspects to the Allen Parish Jail. Newton ISD police say investigators are working on theft warrants and will bring the suspects back to Newton County. And those were your headlines from Southeast Texas.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at yourmediainsurance.com.
In Austin, I'm Darrenisha Heron. Protesters gathered outside of Austin's City Hall over the weekend after a woman was shot and killed by an ICE officer in Minnesota. Drivers could be heard honking horns while a large crowd of protesters waved anti-ICE signs along both sides of Cesar Chavez. One woman we spoke to said ICE is still here in Texas and claims their operations is impacting her job.
I mean, ICE is still here. They're picking up people every day. I work in construction. People I work with have been deported. They've been picked up. And I just heard yesterday 5 guys going to work got picked up and they're now in detention and probably will be deported. And that's more, construction workers who aren't going to be out there working.
And more demonstrations popped up around Central Texas. In Pflugerville, people lined up and held signs along Kelly Lane on Sunday. Many drivers honked as people passed by. And demonstrators told us they hope their protest inspires the community to get involved and stand up against fear.
That's great, all the honking. And I feel that the larger the protest, the more people feel secure about their voice and the more they're going to get out and vote.
Another rally happened in Elgin. We spoke to a woman who says she planned the event before Renee Good was killed and was already frustrated with what she says she saw in her community.
I'm just a community member here in Elgin. I've lived here 32 years and I'm not liking what I'm seeing happen to my neighbors.
Texas A&M University is asking professors to make changes to hundreds of courses or risk having them canceled. It is part of an effort to comply with the new Board of Regents policy restricting classroom discussions about race and gender. Roughly 200 courses have been flagged or canceled by university leaders for gender or race-related content. Some classes have been removed or reassigned from the core curriculum. Professors say they feel they are losing academic freedom. Daniel Perot has more.
Days before the start of the spring semester on Monday, Texas A&M leaders are scrambling to review courses, flagging hundreds, including Dr. Martin Peterson's Contemporary Moral Issues.
I have taught that course in the past. I've talked about race and gender issues.
That has not been an issue.
After reviewing his syllabus this week, the university gave him two options: remove those modules on race and gender, including readings from Plato, or be reassigned to another course.
I have censored my syllabus. I have replaced the lectures on Plato with new lectures on free speech and academic freedom.
The coursework in question included sections of Plato's Symposia that don't align with modern conservative views on gender.
He talks about the homosexuality as being something completely natural, and he explicitly states that there are more than two genders.
In a statement, Texas A&M says other dialogues of Plato will be taught in other courses. The university says it approved other sections of this philosophy course that include Plato, but not the modules on race and gender identity.
What is left to discuss in the philosophy department if we cannot talk about Plato? I'm not the victim here. It's my students that are the victims. They don't get to study Plato, and that is very unfortunate.
Critics say by eroding academic freedom, Texas A&M could be violating the First Amendment.
We're absolutely concerned that this is the beginning of what is going to be an attempt to purge disfavored ideas from the classroom.
While frustrated, Peterson said he doesn't blame administrators, who he says have been put in a tough position. As chair of Texas A&M's Academic Freedom Council, Peterson says he worries it undermines the purpose of the university.
I cannot see that censorship would be a path to academic excellence.
Texas A&M is not the only university that's taken steps like this. The Texas tech system has banned race or sex-related content in courses, except when mandated for licensing, certification, or patient care. While Texas State has asked its professors to review their course descriptions and titles to ensure they are discipline appropriate. It's been 6 months since deadly floodwaters ravaged Central Texas. Many families are still trying to rebuild. KVU's Kelsey Sanchez brings us the story of one Sandy Creek flood victim who lost everything and is now getting help from friends and the community.
Jermaine Germain, better known as JJ, will celebrate his son's 16th birthday on Sunday.
His birthday boy here, Braxton.
But not in the way he imagined. On the 4th of July, Braxton, JJ's daughter Felicity, and his wife Alyssa died after floods tore their home apart and swept them away.
They didn't make it from inside the house.
These trees behind me were planted in memory of JJ's children, Felicity and Braxton. JJ says he comes out here as much as he can to visit them.
Months later, there are moments that catch up with him.
Bus comes by every day. You know, Felicity was every morning on the bus. I hear it go by. You know, same time it comes by to drop them off. They don't get off the bus. So, you know, it's things like that. And me running away is not going to cure anything. I think it'd make it worse.
JJ says he's going to rebuild.
I don't want to lose any more than I've already lost. I'm here trying to gain, you know, at least enough life to live.
And he's going to do that with some help. Home builder Sterling Creek Homes and a friend of JJ's launched a fundraiser to rebuild his home. The goal is to raise $400,000.
When it was brought to me, you know, I was floored with, oh my gosh, are you serious?
JJ says he's lived on this property for 25 years, but he's going to let the builders take the reins on how the new building will look. His focus is to just keep pushing forward.
I'm not in control of this life that I'm living. I'm just gonna stay alive in it until my day is called. So I'm with it.
And taking it day by day while keeping the memory of his family close by. In Leander, Kelsey Sanchez, KVU News.
Absolutely, just heartbreaking. If you'd like to help JJ, we'll have the link of the fundraiser along with this story on our website, kvu.com. Those are the headlines in Austin. I'm Darrenisha Herron.
I'm Bill Churchwell in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's happening in South Texas. Sun Plaza Shopping Center will soon be looking a lot different. Businesses in the area say they've been given until the end of the month to move out. New owners plan to redevelop the area at Everhard and Corona Drive, but not all longtime shops will survive. We spoke with several businesses about the impact this change will have. Customers and employees say the news came as a surprise, especially so soon after the holidays. For many, this shopping center has been more than just a place to work or shop. It's been part of the community for decades.
Okay, I'm not going to get emotional. The next day when I came to the store, after I heard the news the day before, it was, when I walked in, it was like totally different. It's like, wow. But the days have gotten better. I can walk in the store now without getting emotional. But it was tough.
The redevelopment promises something new for the area, but it also marks the end of an era for many longtime businesses and the people who have been part of Sun Plaza for years. A routine doctor's visit turned into a life-saving wake-up call for one Corpus Christi City Council member. Mark Scott thought he was doing everything right, working out, eating well, staying active. But what doctors found inside his heart told a very different story. Our Michael Gibson shows us how one appointment may have stopped a heart attack from happening.
Most everyone does not like going to the doctor. And then when you show up to a cardiologist's office like Mark Scott did the other day, there has to be an extra layer of concern. But fortunately, that visit helped save his life.
He was about here. He had an 80% blockage of that big artery supplying the front of his heart.
This is Councilman Mark Scott's regular visit with his own cardiologist, Dr. Shrikant Damaraju. The doctor is checking on Scott after placing a stent in an artery clogged with plaque and calcium, an obstruction that could have led to a massive heart attack.
I thought I work out all the time. I take the right medicine. For the most part, I eat right. I avoid fatty foods and fried foods. And I still had this happen, right? So what we found, I think, is it's hereditary.
A few months back, Scott says he wasn't feeling right. While on vacation, he developed a severe headache and had trouble remembering words, symptoms that raised red flags.
So he called me, and when I talked with him, I said, Mark, the thing we need to do is go in and take a look and see if there's any blockage.
Doctors say people with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, or a family history of heart disease are at higher risk. Dr. Damaraju recommends at least 150 minutes a week of walking or biking and cutting back on those processed foods.
Processed, ultra-processed foods are not a good idea. So if you can avoid them as much as possible, fixing meals with fresh ingredients at home, way better. That's what we like to do.
Scott says during council meetings, he felt drained. Other council members noticed it too. But after this procedure, the difference was immediate.
I promise you, Michael, what's strange to me is how much better I feel today than I did 6 months ago. Didn't even know it. I felt like it was stress. I'm up too late. Work is too hard. Political, blah, blah, blah. Then you have this stent put in and you realize I've probably had this issue for a year.
Soon he'll be back on his bicycle, logging up to 75 miles a week. But this time with a new message. You can do everything right and still need to get checked. Because sometimes the appointment you don't want to make is the one that saves your life. Michael Gibson, 3 News.
And that's a quick look at some of what's happening in South Texas.
Hello and welcome to your East Texas headlines. I'm Jimmy Searfoss. 2 duck hunters were saved from a sinking boat on Cedar Creek Lake. On Saturday, the Gun Barrel City Fire Department responded to a request from the Henderson County Sheriff's Office at 10:16 a.m. about a duck hunting boat taking on water in Cedar Creek Lake near Oak Hill Drive in 7 Points. Crews located the 2 hunters about 500 yards from Oak Hill Drive. At the time of the rescue, lake conditions included high winds and waves, reducing visibility, complicating those rescue efforts. The 2 hunters were rescued from the water and treated by UT Health, EMS, and other first responders. The hunters have been were approximately in 56-degree water for an estimated 90 minutes and were transported to a local hospital for further evaluation. No injuries were reported amongst the first responders. This incident remains under investigation by the Texas game wardens who were on scene during the rescue. An East Texas man has been arrested in a 7-year cold case of a murder of a Henderson County father and daughter. Lance Caden Raines has been arrested for the murder of Gabriel and Beverly McBride. According to the sheriff's office, he is in custody now with a bond set at $2 million. The killings took place on December 10th, 2018, where both McBrides were found with gunshot wounds. Gabriel McBride was found alive but later died after being airlifted to a local hospital. Raines has been charged with capital murder. Well, doctors across East Texas are seeing a large, troubling rise in flu cases driven by a new strain spreading worldwide. Health officials warn that the H3N2 variant is causing more severe symptoms, especially for children and older adults. Dr. Anna Block with UT Health East Texas says they've seen a rise in cases since the last month. She says preventable measures that you can take to keep yourself and those around you safe are these.
Prevention is really based on washing your hands. If you have symptoms, prevent to be in contact with other people, protect your cough, wash your hands more frequently, seek a medical provider if you're feeling more sick. In young kids, it's very, very important to make sure they have their vaccines. It's not too late to get vaccinated yet.
Health officials stress that it's not too late to get the flu vaccine. The season usually peaks in January and February and can last into March. There are also at-home tests that can help detect the flu earlier. For more information, head to our website, cbs19.tv. Well, after a December house fire killed 2 young Wascom brothers, East Texas is now stepping up. CBS 19's Robert De La Garza shows us how Carthage residents are turning a heartbreaking loss to a powerful show of support.
After 18 years in livestock auction sales, Kevin McDonald has seen a lot pass through the ring at Carthage Livestock Auction. But this one is different. This time the auction ring has become a call to action for the family of Hector and Isaac Pedraza.
This family needed support, and so we wanted to help.
McDonald says a donated heifer will be auctioned off, with every dollar from the highest bid going directly to the Pedraza family.
I'm hoping around $20,000. We're going to work hard. We're going to try to get as much as we can going to them.
And it's not your typical auction. It's a rollover, meaning the heifer keeps getting bought and donated back to raise more money.
We'll auction it off and to the highest bidder, and then that money goes to the family. They'll donate the animal right back, and we'll auction it off multiple times.
Local businesses have joined the cause, donating feed, equipment, meals, and supplies to be auctioned. Not about money, but reminding a grieving family they're not alone.
There's nothing in the world we can do to bring that family, their children back. If we can help them get through this tough time with financial support and replacing their home, replacing their belongings, just building their life back, that's what our goal is.
A goal they'll keep pushing towards until the final bid is called. Now they're asking the public to be a part of it.
It could happen to anybody, our family members or our friends that we have. Nobody is immune from tragedy. So if you can help.
A simple reminder that when one family hurts, a community answers. For CBS 19, I'm Robert De La Garza.
That auction will be held Tuesday at 11:30 at the Carthage Livestock Auction off of 1914 U.S. Highway 79. Those have been your East Texas headlines. I'm Jimmy Sierfoss.
Texas News Now is sponsored by Germania Insurance.
For insurance you can trust, help is just a handshake away. Find your local agent at germaniainsurance.com.